Before you watch this episode of our cityCURRENT radio show, I want to invite you to join cityCURRENT's e-learning and online personal development platform called GrowthCurrent. I'm Jeremy Park, host of the cityCURRENT radio show and CEO of cityCURRENT. GrowthCurrent is your exclusive ticket to attend virtual events with global thought leaders, national guest speakers, and experts who can help you grow personally and professionally. It gives you access to success secrets, lessons learned, learning modules, and so much more. Being online, you can join us from anywhere in the world. Subscriptions are only $8 a month, or you can do bulk subscriptions for your team. Check out growthcurrent.com to learn more and to join us in our efforts to power the good. And now, on to the show. Welcome to the cityCURRENT radio show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And with that, we're kicking it off talking about MIFA. So we get to talk about Meals on Wheels and all their amazing programs and also an upcoming event. So we are joined by Anna Kathryn Word. She is the Chief Development Officer with MIFA. And when you talk about MIFA and the work you all do, Metropolitan Interfaith Association, amazing history in terms of when the organization was launched, a pivotal moment, but obviously amazing programs making a huge difference. So give us a little bit of context when you talk about MIFA. Just how do you explain the work that you do when you're out there in the community talking about MIFA?
Yeah, so basically we divide it up between senior programs and family programs. So senior programs include Meals on Wheels, which is our most well-known program, our senior companion program, and our long-term care ombudsman program, which advocates for folks in nursing homes and residential facilities. And then our family programs, that encompasses our emergency services, our emergency shelter placement, our rapid rehousing program, and our homeless hotline. So, you know, we really serve families and seniors.
So much of it is geared around creating independence. Talk about it from that lens of just, you know, maintaining independence, creating independence, but allowing people to have the freedom and the flexibility of being independent.
Yeah, so I think it's independence and stability. I think those are the two things that we work to provide. And so with our senior programs, we're really focused on keeping our seniors healthy, keeping them in their homes for as long as we can, you know, keeping them as independent as possible so that they don't have to leave their homes where they've been for so long. And with our family programs, you know, we're really trying to stabilize those crises. So we're looking at trying to keep them in their homes by providing rental or mortgage assistance. We're trying to provide utility assistance so that they don't have their lights cut off, which is a huge disruption, particularly now as so many people are working from home and students are going to school virtually. You know, we're trying to keep these families in a home intact so that they're not homeless and they don't have to go to a shelter and you know, sometimes be split up. So that's really what we're trying to do. It's independence and stability.
Both of us mentioned Meals on Wheels. I want to dive in deeper on this one because this is not only a valuable program, but it's also an opportunity to serve and to connect our community. And so dive in deeper, explain Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, so right now, you know, with the pandemic, we're doing things a little bit differently. We are serving meals 3 days a week, Monday through Wednesday instead of Monday through Friday. And we're also providing frozen or shelf-stable meals to make up for the days when we are not delivering. We're just doing that to try to limit exposure to our clients and to our staff and volunteers. But we serve about 3,500 unduplicated clients every year, and that's with home delivered meals and also with congregate site meals. Again, we're having to do that a little bit differently. Now our congregate sites are kind of a drive-through and pickup, contactless delivery system, but it's working for us and we're serving more than we ever have before. So, you know, Meals on Wheels is still there. It's still rolling. And we actually need volunteers to come back and help us deliver those meals. You know, we had to take a step back from that in March and evaluate how we were delivering those meals and how we were going to do it. And moving forward, we have put in some tremendous safety protocols, and we're really ready to have our volunteers come back and help us. So that's one of the things that we could really use the community's support with.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's an amazing volunteer opportunity to do as an individual, to do it with your family. We even had CJ Kirkland recently share a story of just, you know, she was doing it before with her son and then took time off, obviously, during the pandemic, but now has gotten back into it and just realizing how much she missed the opportunity to serve, but to interact with those. And even though you're doing it from a distance, you create relationships, and it's, for many of them, it's the one chance that they have to have somebody check in on them and to have that human interaction. And I think stuff like that is just so important, not only to refuel your own soul, but to really to connect our community. So it's a powerful thing that you're doing.
And so that's another thing that we've done, particularly since the pandemic began, is we now have a My Phone Buddy program. So for those clients that we can't get out to see and have the conversations with and the interactions with, we're actually calling those folks. Daily phone calls that volunteers are managing so that we can just check in on them, see how they're doing, see if they need anything, if there's anything that MIFA can assist them with. So we are trying to stay in touch with all of those clients as best we can. Yeah,
that's awesome. Dive in a little bit deeper on the assistance and some of those, because that'll take us into kind of the next chapter in this in terms of your upcoming event. But talk about the work that you're doing there a little bit more in detail in terms of providing that financial assistance and support and just, being there when people need you most.
Yeah, so we have seen a huge surge in the number of applications for assistance. There are so many pandemic-related job losses. People are facing more challenges than ever. And so, many of our families live paycheck to paycheck. And so when you miss even one, it can throw their world into, a catastrophe. And so we're seeing that play out. So we saw 800 applications come in for utility assistance just since September the 10th, when our city funding went live. So we're seeing a huge need out there for utility assistance. I think there's a misconception about the rental moratorium. A lot of people are thinking, great, I don't have to pay rent until December, when that's not actually the case. The rent is still going to come due in January. So, we're trying to get that word out and have people come to us before it gets to that point, before they're facing eviction. We'd like to help them with their rental assistance when we can. So we're really encouraging folks to reach out to us. Our online application is available 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. So we're encouraging people to go online. We're not seeing anyone in person anymore in the MIFA building, just again, because of COVID-19, but that application is online.
Carry that forward a little bit, because to your point, it's all it really means is that you just can't be evicted right now. But to your point, all of those kind of debts are adding up. And so the rents that you're not paying are going to come due. And then if you can't pay them once that moratorium is up, then you can be evicted. And so to your point, getting the word out is really important, that they're not giving you that rent for free. It's going to come in. It's just more of a postponement.
Right. And so much of the funding that is geared towards helping folks with rental and utility assistance, so much of the government funding, the federal funding that has been driven toward that project has to be spent by December 31st. So in January, we're not going to have those funds available to help people with rental assistance. So it's absolutely critical that they come to us before December 31st to get help with their rent, if that's what they need.
Yeah. So let's talk about this upcoming event, because it correlates in with that. And so the event is Our City, Our Story 2020, to focus on eviction. And so that's what this is all about in terms of a discussion. But dive in a little bit deeper on this event.
Yeah, so this is our second annual Our City, Our Story event. This time it's virtual, of course. It is October the 7th at noon, and the registration is at community.mifa.org. Matthew Desmond is our keynote speaker, and he is a Pulitzer Prize-winning author. He wrote the book Evicted, Poverty and Profit in the American City. It's about Milwaukee in 2016, but the situation in Memphis is very similar, and he now runs the Eviction Lab at Princeton University, which is a database of evictions online nationwide, and he has a 501c3 called Just Shelter, where he houses a lot of eviction data as well. It's going to be a really great event. The book is eye-opening, it's compelling, it's fascinating, and it really gives you a perspective, a varied perspectives on eviction, both from the eviction, the landlords that are instigating the evictions and the clients that are facing eviction. So it gives you a wide range of perspectives. That event is going to be really great. Paul Young, who is the City of Memphis Director of Housing and Community Development, is going to be moderating a Q&A during that live event, and leading up to the event to sort of frame it and put everything in a context for our community. We have a series of community experts who are We're rolling out videos weekly of these experts, and they include Dorcas Young Griffin, who is the Director of Community Services for Shelby County Government, Jared Myers, who is the Executive at the Heights CDC, Rashawn Austin, who is the Executive Director at the Works CDC, Webb Brewer, who is an attorney, and Paul Young, who is again, the Director of Housing and Community Development with the city. So these folks have stepped in to help us really frame the event and put it in a local context, which has been really fantastic. Pre-COVID, Shelby County had one of the highest eviction rates in the nation. We average about 2,500 evictions a month. So it is definitely an issue that our community is struggling with. And so we're hoping that this can raise awareness and funds to help with that.
So what do you hope that attendees walk away either experiencing, wanting to take action with? What's a takeaway that you really hope that attendees will experience with this event?
Yeah, I think it's understanding what eviction does to a family. I think that's what I want them to walk away with. I think a lot of people generally think, oh, well, they should have paid their rent. And they move on, but it's so much more than that. There's so much complexity to the issue of eviction, and it's, it's not one thing. It's not just not paying the rent. It's a million little things that lead up to not being able to pay the rent. If you have an eviction on your record, then that that prevents you from renting a nice place for your family. There's a whole lot of issues that surround just one eviction. And so I think that's the takeaway that I want people to understand. I think I want them to know and be aware that it's not just someone not working and not paying their bill. It's a lot of little things that lead up to it. Eviction primarily impacts women with children in Memphis, which is tragic. So not only are you evicting them from their home, but you're removing any stability that they had. They're changing school systems. And all of that leads to childhood trauma. I mean, it's just a vicious cycle. And so I really hope people have an awareness when they leave about what it is that leads up to eviction. We are hoping that some great conversations can come out of this. Last year, we had Kathy Izzard in Memphis with this event, and she was speaking about homelessness, and we were able to really work with a group of organizations here, Room in the Inn, that led to the purchase of Collins Chapel for Room in the Inn. And so many great things came from that we're hoping we can kind of start a conversation and move forward with this as well.
Yeah, and I think like anything, a better understanding creates empathy, but you also too understand the complexities. And in many cases, we try to way oversimplify. And to your point, there's a lot of issues on the landlord side. There's a lot of issues on the tenant side. There's also a ripple effect that it creates for the families, for the community. So understanding the complexities at least gives people a better basis of understanding and empathy, like I said, to understand the full situation.
Right.
Talk about on your end, you mentioned kind of a fundraising opportunity with this, but talk about just, you mentioned the website, but where do we go to register? How does the registration work?
Yeah, so you can register online through community.mifa.org. We're asking a suggested donation of $25 per ticket. And we will send out a link a couple of days prior to the event so that you can log on at noon and be our virtual guest for this event.
And then talk about on your end, what you've learned, because you mentioned obviously MIFA has gone through a lot of pivots with COVID-19. Give us something that you've learned through this process that you think it's either a good lesson learned or something that's going to help you come out stronger on the other side.
Yeah. Wow, that's a big question. I think that the pandemic has exacerbated a lot of the issues that have been facing our community for a long time. So poverty has always been in Memphis, but the pandemic has really, exacerbated again the problem for so many people. So many people are facing hunger. So many people are facing eviction and homelessness, and so many more people are facing, so many challenges that I think it's been a great learning opportunity for us to kind of figure out how to pivot and serve those folks. How can we best reach out to them? How can we reach the people that need us, especially when we're not seeing people? It's just been a tremendous opportunity, and I think we're still learning. I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're still learning about how best to serve those people and how to serve more people, how to get the word out about what it is that we're doing. I think that we've had a lot of great opportunities through this. The city funding was a great opportunity to help us kind of spread the word that we are here to help with rental, mortgage, and utility assistance. But I think there's still people out there that need our help. So it's just trying to get the word out and spread the message as much as possible.
What advice would you give either an individual or another organization, perhaps in obviously a different city, but who's trying to do what you're doing in terms of providing stability, helping with independence, being there when people need them the most, helping seniors, families? What advice would you give them?
I think you need to talk to the experts in your community. I think you have to understand exactly what the issues are in each community before you can attempt to help. I think you need to know the organizations that are already out there doing the work. You need to see what they're doing. You don't want to duplicate, obviously, their efforts, but if you can complement them, then that's always great. So I think it's really important just to learn as much as you can about each community, because the issues are different. You know, it might be poverty faces a lot of communities, but there's different challenges that each community faces. And so I think that's really important. And I think that's why our community experts have been so wonderful with this event, because they've really helped us learn what it is in Memphis, what Memphis is facing. So they've been very valuable to us.
Yeah. You recently had a sad loss of a team member, but someone who was instrumental not only for MIFA, but for our community. And so talk about Linda Marks and all that she meant to MIFA.
Thank you for letting me do that. Linda Marks was our interfaith relations officer, and anyone who knew her will say that she was a joy. She put a smile on everyone's faces. She was empathetic. She was compassionate. She was passionate about MIFA and Micah, probably her two loves here in Memphis, along with First Baptist Church. She was just an amazing person who had a heart for interfaith work. And her passion was bringing people together, bringing together people of all faiths, of different perspectives, of different opinions. And she just had a wonderful way about her that she could bring those people together and have them in conversation. And her loss is such a huge loss to MIFA, to Micah, to Memphis. She's irreplaceable. And so thank you for letting me talk about her for a moment. She impacted everyone that she ever met in the best of ways. So
absolutely. Go ahead and wrap up and talk about MIFA, the website, social media, contact information. Where do we go to learn more?
Yeah, so please go to our website. It's community.mifa.org. Click on Our City, Our Story. You can find our conversation guide for Evicted, Poverty, and Profit in the American City. You can find our expert videos. You can find the registration link there. Everything that you need is right there on that website, and I hope that you'll all register and join us on October 7th.
Absolutely. Well, Anna Kathryn Word, Chief Development Officer with MIFA, thank you for all you and your amazing team do. Greatly appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you.